he going to get fired? Is he not going to get fired? And I thought to myself, man, I don't know with that roster, with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, they were expected to go to the playoffs, and they got off to a horrible start. But I tell you what really was the dagger. What really was the dagger for him early on was discovering that they simply did not. That Jaguars team did not have their defensive coordinator right. That was just a bad pick all around. It's Ryan Nelson. This team was 32nd pass defense in the NFL. Dead last. And they just hired this coordinator. The other coordinator was bad. With Doug Peterson. So they fired him, and then he hires this guy, Ron Nelson, and they're 32nd against the pass. You're 27th in points allowed with the 4-13 record. Even with Mac Jones here, remember Mac Jones had been a starter in this league. He was also a first-round pick, and they really did not improve much at all there with this particular team. I also noted that I mentioned the Bears just a few minutes ago. They were blown out against the Bears in London, and London that's their home away from home. They've been to London more than any team in the NFL. That should have been a home game. They should have took care of business against the Bears, and the Bears just cleaned their clock in that London game, going back a few months here. And I also noticed that people say, well, what's the problem with Trent Baalke? He's another guy, could not get along with Jim Harbaugh. Brian Leftwich did not want to work with, and Leftwich denied it, but sources and reports came out, and that floated around that he did not want to work with Trent Baalke, that general manager that was brought over from the 49ers. I think he has missed a few times on draft picks. Particularly in the first overall. He didn't take Aiden Hutchinson. He took the guy from Georgia who's just okay. And Aiden Hutchinson was a world beater at one time with the Detroit Lions. He's going to be back. But NFL Network wanted to make sure and emphasize that that the new head coach, Carlos, the new head coach would report directly to the owner. He would not deal with Trent Baalke. So the owner, Sean Khan or whatever his name is, the owner said that Baalke, he was impressed with Baalke's roster. You know, he was impressed with Baalke's roster. But there is something true that the NFL Network put that out there, that the new coach would report directly to Khan and not deal with Trent Baalke. So he's got some people. He don't have good people skills. That's what it sounds like. He's probably got a good eye for talent, which I think is overrated. I would have moved off of him. And yes, and Carlos says he should stay a coordinator. Going back to Doug Peterson, going back a year ago, I've talked about it with Carlos on the air, that Doug Peterson, the special teams, they got destroyed last year against Houston. They totally look unprepared, different phases of the game. He looks very sluggish at times. His body language isn't good, that stuff bleeds over the team. They mentioned this about Detroit. The intensity, the fearless motto of Dan Campbell bleeds over the team. If you're sluggish and nonchalant as a head coach on the sideline, that will also bleed over on the team. And you start to see that in the play. Peterson's teams look unenthused at the end there at Philadelphia. Maybe you could say he simply caught lightning in the bottle with that Super Bowl run. That is more about, and you're starting to look at it now, that is more about the players that the Eagles have bring in. It's less about Peterson. Peterson's head coaching jobs in NFL are over with. I would not hire Doug Peterson. He's way too nonchalant. He's probably coordinator material, maybe quarterback coach or something, you know. So Peterson is just not that. You just do not want your teams to look sluggish all the time, and that's what they did, especially when he got. Now here's the flip side. Here's the flip side. Trevor Lawrence, he's on the clock, man. I know he's coming back from injury and everything, but he's got to put up or shut up. This is the third coach here with Trevor Lawrence. I'm telling you, you need somebody to work with him. He's going to have to shore up that short passing game. He's a long strider. He's still got to work, even at this many years in the league. We're talking been in the league since 2021. He's got to shore up those mechanics, and he's got to take care of himself and not get himself hurt. He's kind of a tall, lanky player here, but he's definitely got to get it together. He has not lived up to expectations. He is technically overrated at this point. I don't say he's a bust. I don't think he's a bust. We saw Sam Darnold bounce back. We saw Baker Mayfield bounce back. I still think that there's still a future there for Lawrence. But that being said, if they lose with another coach, I think the team could potentially move on from Trevor Lawrence. I do not think that's a hot take at this point in his career. Lawrence has got to take care of himself. He's got to become better as a quarterback. You know, he's got to show more leadership skills out there, and he's flat out got to take care of himself. He cannot be running in the teeth of the defense there. He's got to shore up his speed and not get himself injured out there. I've said that about Sam Darnold in the past, and he has corrected. He had a rough game the other day, but he has corrected. He's not running head first into the end zone and getting himself concussed all the time. I've said that about Mayfield, that I think he thought he was too fast. He made a heck of a throw yesterday there for a touchdown late in the second half there. It wasn't one to Mike Evans and one to this other guy, Pegum or whatever the heck his name is. Great throw there. But he's got to measure up the speed of the defense here for and be more efficient. So I think he's somewhat on the hot seat as a player there, Trevor Lawrence is, in my opinion. But this will be somewhat of an attractive job. I think Brian Flores may come down there. I'm not sure. I think it's one of the jobs that he may be interested in. Todd Monken, somebody like that. He's getting interest.